Hello there, I'm Mike Hartford. I'm the fire chief here in Limington, Maine, and I'm here today to tell you about a little project that we started here, back in the winter. Here in the rural fire department in southern Maine, we have very limited manpower, especially during the days when we have a fire or any kind of an incident. Putting the equipment back in service takes some time, and we don't always have enough people to get that job done. Now, in the past, whenever we'd go out to a fire and we'd use a couple of thousand feet of hose, all that hose has to be washed and dried and put back on the trucks. And it used to be an all-day to a two-day job to wash this hose up and clean it. And so our project was try to identify how we could do this with just one or two people and how we could do it in better time and not work quite so hard doing it. We turned to several agencies to help us fund, and the Narragansett No. 1 Foundation awarded us a grant. It was about $15,000 that they awarded us to buy some automated equipment to take care of this task of servicing the fire hose. So we looked all around at the equipment that's available and whatnot. We turned to our friends out at W.S. Dally out in, I think it's Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. And we've worked with them for years, and they've serviced fire departments all over this country for years. And we told them we had a limited amount of money. We didn't have quite enough money to do the job. And we told them what we needed. We needed this automated hose washer. We needed a good hose rack to dry the hose, and something that's portable, can be moved around. And we needed a turntable to be able to load the hose back on the truck effectively with just one or two people. And so we, like I say, we came up short on the funding, and this fellow, the customer rep, Glenn Costa, who works with them, and I've talked with him before, he went to the superiors and said, listen, this is a small town in Maine. They've only got a limited amount of funds. They've been great customers over the years. Can we help them out? And of course, the answer from the Dally family is always yes. So they helped us out. They made the numbers work, and lo and behold, today we've got our automated power washer for the hose. We've got our drying rack, and we've got our rolling table. And we thank Dally, and we thank the Narragansett No. 1 Foundation for doing that and being able to make this work. Then when it came to talking about how we're going to actually set this unit up, we had to talk to the manufacturers of the company at the Circul-Air-Corp Corporation. We talked to a guy by the name of Justin Christensen, and he's really gone out of his way to make sure that there's no shipping costs on this, to make sure that we've got all of this stuff to us that we need to work. He got the manuals to us. We was able to put on a training. And what I'm going to do is give you a demonstration of just how this works. But here's where the rubber meets the road. The process used to take us about a day and a half to do this. It used to take us about 5 or 6 people to get all this hose cleaned back on the truck. We can do about anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 feet in about an hour and a half to 2 hours now with 3 people. Okay, this is the Circul-Air hose rolling table. Right now you see it in the horizontal position where the hose can be unrolled, or we can roll the hose back up into this position. Let's roll it back up in that position. And you can see it's pretty easy for people to do this without having to bend over and hurt their back. Now Leroy's going to go ahead and show us how we can angle this table and reset it so that it can be rolled right up onto a fire truck. And once again, if we're unrolling like this, as you'll notice, people don't have to bend over and hurt their backs doing this. This can be fed right on there. If you were taking it off a fire truck at this point, at this angle, you could come off the hose bed and go right back onto this roller. And of course, as you'll see, their backs are straight and there's less chance of having an injury. If you come over to the end of this, you'll see that there's 3 connections that have to be made. Down at the bottom, there's a 110 volt electrical cord that has to plug into an outlet that has ground fault interruption protection on it. You have a garden hose that gets connected here and gets turned on. And we run warm water into this to start with, 60 gallons of warm water, and that remains running throughout the operation. And down at the bottom, you can see that long vacuum cleaner type hose. That goes out into one of our floor drains, and it allows this not to overflow and continue to drain throughout the operation. Now, if you look over here, you'll see that there's a foot pedal here, and if you look right in here, you'll see the squeegee mechanism. And this is the squeegee mechanism for the hose. I'll open up the threading area, and you'll see the squeegees that are right here that I just showed you. You'll see that there's little spray tips in here that sprays water from the garden hose down on the hose and up on the hose to rinse it. These circular brushes turn and cleanse the hose and clean all the particulate matter out of the hose. So all the water stays running in there, and we close this door while it's in operation. If you look over here, there's a big tub. There's a 60-gallon tub here. This is where the fire hose gets dropped in. We fill this with warm water. We put the fire hose in here to soak for about 5 minutes in the chemical mixture. And then we're ready to feed it into the machine to actually wash the hose. So to feed this into the washer, it's really pretty simple, because you just take this over to the end to where the squeegees are, and you set it in there. And that's what it looks like. And then this gets closed up, and you're ready to start the washing operation. So for the most part, that's about all there is to that. There's one place right down here in the bottom with one more little door that opens up. And down here, we keep these chemicals stored down under. We also keep a cleaning brush and a little spray bottle of our degreaser, because when we're all done cleaning here, we use the degreaser to spray things down in that brush just to clean this all up so that the entire machine is spotless and ready for the next operation that we do with it. The big device that you see down here was part of our grant, which is a hose cutter, because as we're going through this process, we're up close and personal with all of our hose. And if we find a defective piece, then we put that hose cutter up there and cut the coupling off it, and we send it back up to our sister company up in Cornish and recouple the hose and retest the hose and make sure it's ready for fire service duty. If you're curious to know why all of a sudden the suds is coming out of this is a piece of forestry hose that was saturated with Class A foam. It came from a fire here a few weeks back, but that's absolutely saturated with Class A foam, and that's why you see the foam coming up out of the tank. That's not from these cleaners that we put in. The reason I know that is because I could smell the Class A foam in the room. So in conclusion, we need to say our thank yous here. This would not have been possible if the Narragansett #1 Foundation hadn't awarded us with a funding grant. And it absolutely would not have been possible unless we had two vendors step up to the block and say, we're going to make this happen for you no matter what. And the W.S. Daly Corporation, they made the numbers work. And that was Glenn Coster out there that really worked hard at that and talked to the Daly family and made that come about. And then we got Mr. Christensen at the Circul-Air Corporation. He made sure that we got exactly what we needed for the equipment, and he made sure that we had this nice hose rack here free of charge from those folks, shipped it out, and for that we say thank you to you folks for helping us help others. We got good equipment, we got good people to thank for it, and I thank you all for watching this video today. If you have any questions about any of this, we're going to have a telephone number at the end you can call. We'd be glad to explain anything about this project to you. Thank you.